At 6'9", Rico Harris was a literal giant. A former Harlem Globetrotter with hands big enough to palm 2 basketballs and a talent that should have landed him in the NBA. But on a lonely stretch of California's Highway 16, that giant simply evaporated. His car was found dead. His phone and keys were still in the cup holder, but there was no sign of Rico. Days later, investigators found something chilling. Size 18 footprints leading down to the creek. Footprints that matched Rico's shoes exactly. The problem? They only led one way, into the heart of the wilderness. How does a man this big disappear without a trace? On October 12, 2014, a Yolo County deputy passed a black Nissan Maxima parked in a remote rest area inside Cache Creek Regional Park. It didn't register. The next day, he saw it again. This time, he ran the plates. Rico Harris. Inside the vehicle, nothing made sense. The car was unlocked, papers scattered, credit cards left behind. A Washington state license sitting in plain view. 2 bottles, one empty, one half full, both smelling of alcohol. The battery was dead. The gas tank empty. No signs of a struggle. No indication anyone else had been there. The morning on October 10th, he had called his girlfriend and left a voicemail. He said he was north of Sacramento. He said he was going up into the mountains to rest, that he hadn't slept much since leaving Seattle. That was the last confirmed contact anyone had with Rico Harris. When search teams moved into the surrounding terrain, they found the footprints, size 16, leading away from the car into the wilderness, then stopping. But the location, the car, even the footprints, none of that is what makes this case difficult. What makes it difficult is who Rico Harris was supposed to become. Rico Harris grew up in Los Angeles, where basketball isn't just a game, it's an exit strategy. And he had it. 6'9", 300 pounds, athletic, coordinated. Scouts compared him to Lamar Odom. That was not a casual comparison. In 1997, he led LA City College to a state championship. In 2000, the Harlem Globetrotters signed him. It wasn't the NBA, but it was the beginning of something real. 1 month after becoming a member of the Globetrotters, Rico was driving through South Los Angeles with his girlfriend when a confrontation occurred with several people on the street. When he stepped out of his car, someone hit him in the back of the head with a baseball bat. His injuries ended his time with the Globetrotters. A career built over 25 years ended in an instant on a street in South LA. What followed, investigators and addiction specialists recognized physical pain first, then drug and alcohol abuse. Over the next 7 years, his name didn't appear in box scores. It appeared in records. By 2007, the arrest record was the only document of his existence. But it didn't stay that way. In 2007, Rico Harris entered recovery. What followed, by all documented accounts, was a genuine and sustained effort to rebuild. He reestablished contact with family. He began a serious relationship with a woman in Seattle. By 2014, there was a job waiting for him there. Not a Globetrotters contract, not the Scouts, but something real. Something that required him to show up. On October 8, 2014, he left his mother's home in Alhambra and drove north. He never arrived. Ground teams swept through Cache Creek Regional Wilderness in organized grids. The terrain is difficult. Steep inclines, dense brush, creek beds that shift with the season. Sections where a fall would be unsurvivable, and a body extraordinarily hard to recover. They found the footprints, consistent with Rico's documented shoe size, leading away from the car, then stopping. Not at a clearing, not at harder ground, just stopping. Then a civilian called in. He had found a backpack alongside Route 16 in Redwood Valley, nearly 70 miles from the car. Inside, jumper cables, clothing, more alcohol. And Rico's cell phone. Police had already contacted his carrier. The phone had pinged in Redwood Valley. They had assumed it meant Rico had somehow traveled that distance. What it actually meant was that his phone had been sitting in an abandoned backpack on the side of a road, with no explanation for how it got there. Lead investigator Detective Dean Nyland later said he believed Rico may have left the backpack himself, either accidentally or deliberately, to avoid being tracked. Aerial searches followed. ATVs, aircraft with heat-sensing cameras, a 50-mile radius sweep, 27 miles along Route 16. Nothing. A man of Rico's physical dimensions left no further confirmed trace in terrain where leaving no trace requires either extraordinary circumstance or extraordinary intention.
3 explanations emerged. None have been confirmed. Accident. Rico stops for an unknown reason. Mechanical issue, disorientation, a moment of poor judgment on a long, isolated drive. He exits the vehicle. The terrain claims him. Cache Creek's canyon contains sections where a fall would be unsurvivable and recovery nearly impossible. The footprints were found. What they led to was not. This is the simplest explanation. It doesn't account for over a decade of multiple searches finding nothing. Voluntary disappearance. This became the informal working assumption of Yolo County investigators. Adults walk away from their lives every year, overwhelmed by debt, pressure, history they can no longer carry. Rico Harris had history. He also had a job waiting, a relationship, a family expecting him. His girlfriend told investigators there was no indication of distress in their final call. His mother said the same. This theory answers why he left the car. It doesn't explain why. In 11 years, no confirmed sighting has ever been reported of a 6'9" man. The space between. A deliberate stop on a rural road. Footprints that stop where they have no reason to stop. A witness account never resolved. No remains, no sighting, no reasoning, across more than a decade. Whatever happened in that terrain, it has left no answer that fits cleanly into either of the first 2 categories. Yolo County listed Rico Harris as a missing person. The case was not closed, but it was not actively pursued. His family did not move on from it. His mother made public appeals for information through at least 2018. The NamUs file remains open. No updates. 11 years later, 4 questions still have no answers. He left voluntarily? The footprints stopped? Was the terrain fully explored? Who did the witness actually see? In 2014, by every account, he was building something. What caused him to stop? 4 questions, no answers. The file stays open. If you know something, anything, the Yolo County Sheriff's Office is still taking information. The number is in the description. Here on Unsolved Sports Edition, we cover the sports stories that don't get closed. The athletes, the competitors, the people who gave everything to their sport, and the questions that followed them after the game ended. Rico Harris was one of those people. If this story moved you, share it. Not for the views, because somewhere out there, someone might know something. And a family has been waiting 11 years for that someone to say it out loud.